Hello and welcome to e-GMAT. We will solve question number 31 of OG Verbal Second Edition by using e-GMAT three-step process. In the first step, we will understand the meaning of the sentence. In the second, we will evaluate the errors in the sentence, and finally, we will review all the answer choices to get to the correct answer. So let's begin. Nearly 2 tons of nuclear reactor fuel have already been put into orbit around the Earth, and the chances of a collision involving such material increase greatly as the amount of both space debris and satellites continue to rise. Now, this sentence presents a few facts. It says that nearly 2 tons of nuclear reactor fuel have been put into orbit around the Earth. The chances of collision involving such material increase greatly as the amount of space debris as well as the number of satellites continue to increase. Now let us evaluate the errors by splitting the sentence into clauses. So here comes the first clause. Nearly 2 tons of nuclear reactor fuel have already been put into orbit around the Earth, and here nearly 2 tons of nuclear reactor fuel is the subject and have been put is the verb. After and we have a subject-verb pair, which means we have a clause here that reads, the chances of a collision involving such material increase greatly as, here the chances of a collision is the subject and increase is the verb. After as we have another subject-verb pair, which means we have another clause, and it reads, the amount of both space debris and satellites continue to rise. Here the amount of both space debris and satellites is the subject and continue is the verb. Although the second clause in this sentence lies in the non-underlined portion of the sentence, let's analyze it from grammatical standpoint. As highlighted already, the subject is the chances of a collision and the verb is increase. Now this is so because a collision cannot be the subject as it lies in the prepositional phrase that modifies the chances. Now the chances being the head of this prepositional phrase decides the number of the verb. Since the chances is plural, it takes the plural verb increase. Now in the underlined portion of the sentence, the phrase the amount of both applies to space debris as well as satellites. Since space debris is uncountable noun, use of the amount of is correct as the amount of is used for uncountable nouns. However, the use of the amount is incorrect for countable noun satellites. So we have idiom error in this sentence. The correct expression for countable nouns, and in this case for satellites, is the number of satellites. Again, the phrase the amount of is always singular, but here we have plural verb continue that does not agree in number with the amount of. Hence, we have subject verb number agreement error too. So these are the errors in this sentence, and let's run the POE to find out what's the correct answer. Well, choice A is certainly not the correct answer as we just discussed. Choice B repeats the same idiom error of choice A. The amount of has been used for countable noun satellites, which is incorrect. Also, this choice has parallelism error. The list per this choice is now the amount of satellites and space debris, while the first entity is the amount or the quantity of a noun, the other one is only a noun. Logically, this list is not parallel. So these errors make choice B incorrect. Let's take a look at choice C. Well, this choice uses the correct expression. It correctly says the amount of space debris and the number of satellites, so there is no idiom error here. Also, plural verb continue agrees in number with plural subject here that are connected with and, so choice C is the correct answer. But we will still review choices D and E to find out why they are not correct. Well, in choice D, notice the list per this choice. It says chances increase greatly with A, the continually increasing amount of space debris, and B, the number of satellites. Now, this is not the intended meaning of the sentence. Per the original sentence, both the objects are increasing, but this choice fails to communicate that. Hence, choice D is not correct. Let's take a look at choice E. This choice changes the intended meaning of the sentence. Per the original sentence, the chances of collision increase greatly as two things happen: the amount of space debris rise and the number of satellites rise. Their rise is independent of each other. But per this choice, the rise of these measures is somehow connected, as we have this phrase here, continuing to increase along with. That is why, although this choice is grammatically correct, it stands incorrect because it changes the meaning of the sentence. So as we found out, choice C is the correct answer for this sentence. This brings us to the takeaway messages. The amount of is used only for uncountable nouns, whereas we use the number of for countable nouns. Also, we must select the choice that concisely and clearly conveys the intended meaning of the sentence. We must be wary of the choices that distort or change the meaning of the original sentence. The concepts tested in this sentence have been covered in e-GMAT concepts level 1 significance of meaning, level 1 parallelism identify and correct, and level 1 idioms quantities.